This is the best Virtuoso deck ever. That's a lie. Then what is the best? That's cap. Alright, then let's find out. Let's put that to the test, seeing if the Virtuoso Fall Winter 17s or if the Virtuoso P1 Perspectives is a better deck. The two tuck boxes are going to be pretty similar. The lines go slightly in different ways, but they're going to be pretty well close, so I'm not going to give this one either way. Both of the left sides have the V for Virtuoso, and both right sides say Virtuoso. Then the backs are going to be just pretty much what it is on the front, just a continuation of it. And then the bottoms have Virtuoso ad copy, although are slightly different. The top, one says nothing, the other says Perspective Series. And then when opening up the boxes, one says designed for cardistry, and the other says designed for cardistry, but also has the 4 pips and the Virtuoso symbol, just like this one. So when it comes to the tuck box, because both of the insides are blank, I'm going to have to give this one a slight edge to the P1. Your 4 ad cards for the Fall Winter 17 deck create 1 full playing card. And the 4 P1 ad cards create the 4 pips. But if I had to take a choice, I'm taking the Fall Winter 17s. Now when it comes to the 2 back designs, let's talk about the Fall Winter 17s first. The Fall Winter 17s are both green, black, gray, and white. And that is a really good point for them, because that way when you do fans, you actually get a different colored fan when you go this way and when you go this way. So I think that definitely helps them out as well. And you get the contrast between the black and the green, and you do have this small little white line down in between here as well. So I do like the fact that there's contrast in color, and the fact that it's actually borderless all the way around the outside. So in comparison from that one to the P1s over here, this one, although it does look good, it does have the circle in the center. There's a couple problems. One is that the bordered part, which is here and here, I wish were here and here, because everyone who I know fans in their left hand. When you get that bordered fan, I don't feel like it looks as good. So if they could have switched that with this and this with that, I think that would have been better, and just adding color. When it comes to a comparison from the P1s to the Fall Winter 17 just on back design, I'm giving it to the Fall Winter 17s. Next, we're taking a look at the number cards as a whole. So you do have a redesign of all of where the actual pips are. You do get the 2 lines on the outside, which make a great fanning point. You get that cigar band. The numbers stay pretty much the same on all their cards. Like, there's not a ton of customization there, and the shapes are pretty much custom. Like, everything's pretty close to standard, except for the fact that their placement is different, and you have the 2 lines, which make fanning better. But that's pretty much it when it comes to the faces for the Fall Winter 17s. Now, when it comes to the faces for the P1s, this is way more customized. So you actually have 4 new suits. You have the crowns there, the yellow ones. Then you have the red ones here, you have the blues here, and the greens here. So obviously 4 really cool new suits, and then you have a circle in the center of each one. So you're actually just continuing this back design onto the faces, which I think is stupid cool. Then plus, because of the way that they're oriented, every one looks like it's going down in a circle like this. So when you have either the reds or the blues, they look like they're going in a circle. And then the greens and the yellows look more like boxes, but that does make that part really cool. And you have 4 new suits, which not many other decks have. The only problem with this is the fact that, one, you can't really tell what they are called, because like everyone knows if you see a heart, it's a heart. This, I mean, what is that? Is it a diamond? Is it a shield? Is it a what? Like, and they had it on the place where you can buy them, but like it just can be a little confusing for people who aren't really in the card community, or just getting into cards. You're like, oh, that would be a really cool deck to pick up. What is that? The other thing is, the 2 lines aren't there. So fanning is now kind of boring, right? You don't have anything on this inner circle here, and that's just kind of unfortunate. But one thing that did help redeem that is when you go through, you'll have the 10s are now X's. So both sides are X's on that. So you have a V on one side and a 5 on the other. So that just makes it look really cool. And like literally as I'm rotating this card looks really dope. Like I'm literally just flipping the card over, but because of that center circle, it just looks awesome. When it comes to comparing the 2, if I could only have one, I'm going with the P1s, simply because of the fact of how customized it is. And the only 2 things that I have are the redesign of the layout of these, which was okay, but nothing extra crazy in those 2 lines there. This just had so much more to give for a cardistry deck. Next, we'll go with the court card. So first, for the Fall Winter 17s, you'll have the 2 lines here still, and then all of your court cards have been completely customized. They still keep the same bicycle standard-ish to where, like, if the Queen of Diamonds head is here, she's still going to be here facing this way with the same type of hat on, still holding the flower. So it still pays homage to bicycle playing cards, but that's pretty much it when it comes to that. And then I do like the fact that they do have the circle in the center of all of them, and it does keep with the deck extremely nicely, although I'm not sure why the red was in the middle of some of the, like in the red cards. I do wish they would have taken that out, truth be told. Like, why is there red in the middle of the spade, but then you have this one here which has no red in the middle of a club, right? Like, some of that just didn't quite make sense to me. But outside of that, I feel like these are really cool. Not entirely my favorite court cards I've ever seen. And then when you have the P1s, you wouldn't actually even know they're court cards. They're really cool looking, and like, you have different ways for them to be able to tell apart. So there's only 1 ring on the jacks, there's 2 rings on the queens, and then there's a 3rd ring on the kings, right? And it's because of how it works. It's really cool looking. Like, you get that 3rd one on the top for the kings, and they look really good. But you'd never know they were court cards if you didn't actually look in the corners, right? With normal court cards, you can look in the center. Now, when it comes to actually doing cardistry with this is going to be way better. So, in comparison, if I can only choose one of these to put on a deck, I'm once again going with this, although I do wish they had the 2 lines on it. And lastly, let's talk about the aces. So when it comes to the aces for the Fall Winter 17 playing cards, you have a very small pip in the center, almost as small as the indices up here, excluding the ace of spades, which is extremely, extremely cool, and has the Virtuoso logo in the middle. It honestly just fits this deck perfectly. But then when it comes to the P1s, you wouldn't actually know they're aces either. So you do have the logo for like each individual pip in the center, and then you can't really tell like which one of them is the power ace, which one, like there's nothing to distinguish them at all. Like when it comes to cardistry, obviously they're all going to look gorgeous, but there's no way to distinguish them. I feel like there's the same problem with these as there is on the other numbers and the court cards, and I feel like that's just a problem. This one definitely takes the cake on that. But here's the problem with it. These 3 are garbage. This one is amazing. And these land right in the middle. When it comes to how dope they are, these are the worst, these are in the middle, this is the best. But when it comes to how it works for me, these 3 aces right here, done on the Fall Winter 17s, are so bad because of how small the pips are that I'm giving it to the P1s. And last, let's talk about how thick they are and how they actually handle in your hands. So, when it comes to how these cards handle right here, the Fall Winter 17 playing cards by Virtuoso, these playing cards are the thinnest deck in my collection. There's not a single one that is thinner than this. So when it comes to springing or doing something like Under Pressure, it's literally effortless. So if you're just getting into cardistry and need a deck that's going to be thin enough to where your hands can start getting used to it, this is the thinnest deck that I own in my entire collection. It faroes beautifully, literally every other, no problem with any of that. Looks great during all the cardistry moves. Like it's beautiful, right? So it's super snappy still. Like I can still perform moves like backdrop or whatever. No problem with that at all. The longer you use it, especially with this deck, if you take it outside for any amount of time, is going to warp on you extremely fast. But honestly, when it comes to how this deck feels in your hands, it's extremely buttery, extremely snappy, and extremely thin. And the finish really has not worn off, and I've had this pretty much since they came out. So really no problems here at all. When it comes to these almost feel like a slightly thinner than a bicycle deck, right? It's like, it feels like singular crushed stock. So the way that playing cards work is that you have 2 different types of paper at USPCC. You have the classic stock and the premium stock. The premium stock is for casino stock, B stock, all the thicker stock. And then you have the classic stock, which is used on bicycle cards. The way it feels to me is that the other deck, the Fall Winter 17s, were crushed twice, and these were crushed once. So it's definitely thinner than a normal bicycle deck, but it's still thicker than the Fall Winter 17s. Now, when it comes to how this thing glides, there's literally no problem with the finish or anything on it. It definitely has more snappiness to this deck, simply because of the fact that it is a thicker stock. Now, it's clearly still thin. I've got no problems with it whatsoever. I can spring it. I can do Under Pressure with it. Like, it's still buttery enough to where I can do literally just about anything. But at the same time, it is not as thin as the Fall Winter 17s. So when it comes to the stock on which I prefer, most of the time I would prefer a deck like this. But simply for the fact that I have never felt a deck so thin and still handles so well, I'm going to go with the Fall Winter 17 when it comes to how this deck feels. But look, at the end of the day, if you said I can either choose the Fall Winter 17s or the P1 Perspectives, in all fairness, I have to choose my favorite, the Fall Winter 17s. Now, with the teasers that have come out for the new deck in the Perspective series, in the P1s, I honestly already think, without being able to see the back design, because we've seen most of the tuck box, we've seen the colors of it, we have the name, but we don't have the actual back design or the face or anything like that, I would already venture to say I'm probably going to like this upcoming deck more than the Fall Winter 17s. Be prepared as soon as I get these cards, because I'll be ordering it at the exact time that they launch. So I'm going to get 2 decks, one for me, and then possibly one for a giveaway if I can pull that off. Make sure to subscribe, because you never know when you'll win something fun. Because I literally got an extra P1 and I have an extra Fall Winter 17 here as well, literally right up there on the shelf behind me. So there's the one, there's the other. So hopefully I'll be able to give away, I might just give away all 3, I'm not sure, and they're all sealed. So it just depends on what I can be able to pull off. But if you want to be able to see that review when it drops, and as soon as it drops you can get all the info as soon as it happens, you're in the right place. So make sure to subscribe and ring the bell so you can be notified when those types of videos come. And if you want to check out the reviews of both of those cards, you can check out the P1s there and the Fall Winter 17s there. Check out anything down in the description if you would like to, if you want to pick up the merch. I'll catch you guys in the next one. This is Card Perfect, signing off. And let me know what your thoughts are on this.